Trump painted with a very broad brush when he addressed the Muslim problem in this country. We do have a Muslim problem in this country. Would each of you paint with a little finer brush and tell me how you perceive the problem, how you solve it, or attack it?
I'll go last.
That's benevolence right there, you're last. I'll go first. Look, the Constitution was laid out by the founders with the recognition that freedom to exercise religion means that you have liberty, the Jeffersonian concept, right until the point where it begins to encroach on life. So there are adherents to a particular religion who believe that they are duty-bound by their sacred text to either convert you by force or force you to pay a special tax or to move you out, essentially. And there's an interesting thing going on called the Islam, and that is essentially the movement of people from areas of Muslim concentration to not areas of Muslim concentration. There are Muslims for whom we can live. But there are not literal adherents who fit within the constitutional period. Because if you do as you told to, if it is not metaphorical, as some religious texts are thought to be, the Constitution of the United States, the First Amendment, and strict adherence to constraint are not compatible. It's one of the most interesting challenges we face constitutionally, but it didn't rear its head at the Albemarle Trade Center in the 90s. It didn't rear its head on September 11th. It reared its head back in 1803 with the Barbary Pirates. So what we have here is a document that's worth adhering to word for word the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States. But we have a climate in which we need to recognize a threat and call it a threat and treat it as a threat and a strict adherence who says, I have a duty to convert you or kill you or subjugate you. It's not compatible with American way of life. So the first thing we have to do is recognize the threat for what it is and stop tiptoeing around the problem. You cannot solve a problem until you're willing to say what the problem is. So that's the step we have to take now. It's time. Let him come back, and every minute we lose more opportunity for success.
I apologize. Could you answer? I was busy with my mic.
Yeah, the Muslim problem we have in this country.
Yes.
Mr. Trump painted with a very broad brush and has been attacked because of it. Can you paint with a little finer brush and describe to me how you perceive the problem and how you attack it and solve it?
Number one, I'm enjoying his broad brush. He makes me smile every day. Going back to the Muslim issue, the immediate things I would address, I mean, there's so much you could talk about, but the immediate things I would address, number one, the FBI is saying that we can't vet these people. Why isn't the day that they found out that we can't vet these people properly, we didn't shut down immigration from those countries where we can't do it? Solution so easy. Two, and I know I'm going to take heat for this, but if I found out that in my county, in my neighborhood, they're going to be putting up a mosque, I'll tell you what, I'd be concerned. For me personally, you know, we've got an amazing country with religious freedom. The day the Muslim as a community, as a whole, stands up and said that enough is enough, we're not going to permit this anymore. Come into our mosque, see what we're doing. And tell me any other faith where the doors aren't open. So there's things to be done. Are we going to have to address what's going on overseas? Again, it's leadership. Yes, we're going to have to deal with that overseas. But for me, the immediate future, shut down. If the FBI is saying we can't vet them, shut it down until we can.
Hey, Tom, I guess he implied that I don't have the experience, but in fact, for the better part of the last 20 years, all I've been doing was trying to unscrew up Washington, D.C. in Washington, D.C. on the most critical issues, including this one, and I didn't see him or anyone else in this line up there with me. I saw guys like Attorney General Michael Cage, former Director of Central Intelligence, Jim Woolsey, who worked together. And quite honestly, I've also seen what happens when you try to, as he correctly said, you got to confront the truth of the threat, and you will be attacked, and you will be attacked by GOP leadership, and you better have your game down. So when you see imprecise language, and by the way, Trump, Cruz, and Carson, all those, I've been asked to contribute repeatedly. Just the other day, this new Carson's new campaign manager said, hey, look, we know you don't have to endorse Carson, but can we use you as the subject matter expert to tee the press off to? And here's what went wrong. It's a fundamental military doctrine. It's called the intelligence preparation of the battlefield. You engage an enemy, you got to go, hey, identify the enemy, that recent common sense. Identify the doctors they believe that make them want to be your enemy, and identify their objective for being at war with you. We never did that, and I was giving E-ring briefings since before 9/11 because Osama bin Laden and other jihadis issued a second fatwa. They said, hey, we're a global Islamic movement at war with America and the non-Muslim world. The reason we're at war is Islamic law requires us to be at war with you, to kill you or convert you. And our objective is to force you, not to get your land or anything, but to force you and the whole world to submit to Islamic law. And what you had then is you had George Bush right after 9/11 on the 17th, and he had a member of Hamas, and he had a wad off his left shoulder, a famous video clip. He says, Islam's a religion of peace. Well, he apparently never read Islamic law. And so rather than saying something imprecisely about Muslims, and by the way, I have a lot of Muslim friends. In fact, the last couple of years, the government of General al-Sisi came to me to advise them to try to figure out, hey, how come your government hates us when we're trying to stop the homicidal terrorist Muslim Brotherhood? So Ahmed Farouk, the Consul General to New York for Egypt, the head of their intelligence service, who's a 1980 West Point grad, Mohammed Habib. I have a lot of Muslim friends, but even they, as General Sisi said, he went to Al-Azhar University, he says, you have to change Islamic law. Now that means they're all plotting to kill him. So at the end of the day, there's 4 schools of Islamic law. They all 4 say the only definition of jihad is open warfare against non-believers. Fighting jihad is obligatory, lying about it is obligatory, and funding is obligatory. All felony violations of the U.S. Code, last time I checked. If you're a Roman Catholic and you're supposed to go to church on Sunday and not have premarital sex, that catechism, which is written by men, it's not a sacred scripture, it's written by men. Islamic law is written by men, and it's published in English to know it. That catechism doesn't make you commit felonies as to be a pious Catholic. Islamic law requires that. And by the way, there's professional malpractice at every level of government and media because they never bothered to check. And you can buy a book like Reliance of the Traveler for $30 on Amazon, and the opening pages are authenticated by the world's leading Islamic jurisprudence experts from today, saying this is exactly the only Islamic law there is. And we're crazy. This is like saying to fight the Cold War, the only people we let advise us are sitting communists. And that's the only people that are in government, and a lot of people need to be in jail. And as soon as we stand up and change out leadership that protects our enemies, we'll stop losing wars, and we'll stop destabilizing the entire world and threatening people on the homeland.
Presidential debate, I think 30 seconds, because Michael mentioned my name. I don't know what I did to it, implied that he was leading us as a fine man who brought a lot to the table right through Congress, but apparently he didn't. Let me be clear. Please don't preach me about intelligent preparation, intelligent IDBs. I wore a uniform, I served, okay? I sat in a track vehicle, then Colonel David Perkins, who was a battalion commander in 3rd Brigade 1st ID, who later led the Thunder Run through Baghdad. Okay? I know guys who died, so don't talk to me about your national defense chops. I got some too. I respect yours. I'm just asking for the same. Name drop all you want. Don't attack me. I won't attack you. Let me name it. Rob Bell and Bryce Reeves support me because they work with me and know the job that I'll do in Washington.
Please speak up.
You're running for a national office, and you're also running for a local office. And then the national office, you should think of more notable things rather than so much of local. The local being, I don't know, what are we going to do about things like our debt? It's $18 billion. I haven't heard any one of you address that. I haven't heard increase taxes, which money is our property, but they take it to give it to someone else. That's our property, just as real estate. Real estate is our property. Yet we don't address that. So please address two things. The erosion of our property, including our personal thoughts, which we call political thickness or correctness, which better description is thickness. But, and then the budget is going on about us, and that all affects us. It affects generations to come. We talk about a strong country. We have a weak economy. We have a weak people governing. No matter who our government is weak. As bad as he is, he rolled Obama. The Republicans can't roll Obama.
So what's your question?
My question is, please address our national budget and please address the diminishing of our property, including our personal life. And that's all.
Thank you. So I'll sum it up in two ways. One, you're worried about the economy and the budget. Well, I think we all agree. We have to cut spending at year one today, not in 10 years. We have to actually make sure everything we do as an expenditure is constitutional and for the American people. And then we have to open up the economy. We talked about those things earlier. There's a lot you can do to turn around the economy today and strengthen America. You know, cutting corporate income tax, opening up energy production, exporting energy. The second thing, I'll just kind of summarize it. You and everybody else is worried about our sovereignty. In America, the citizens are sovereign, and the only reason the government exists is by our consent to do certain things. Period. And the government looks at it now like there's nothing they cannot do, and that you're some serf. And that has to change, and there's many ways that'll change. But in terms of political correctness, I think the three Republican outliers were refreshing. Cruz, Carson, and Trump. They just don't care. I don't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. So we could do the three amigos and going, okay, let's say the most politically incorrect things, because what's political correctness but making some bully make you agree to their fiction? And we're all about what's actually happening. We're all about the truth. And so if we can stand up to that and roll back any infringement on your sovereignty, you get your property tax, you get your property back, you get your common sense back and your political discourse back. And we go balance the budget, we go cut the budget, we cut whole departments out of the budget. I mean, think of it. There's a $4 trillion we spend every year, at least $1 trillion of it debt, but $2 trillion of that is entitlements. So somehow there's a class of people who are supposed to be equal, but there's a class of people entitled to $2 trillion, and there's another class entitled to pay it, and that's insane.
I'm going to go second now and last next time. Government shutdown was such an incredible misnomer that when it shut down, 83% of it continued to function. In fact, the government shutdown was so effective that President Obama had to actually barricade items that didn't need attending so that we knew there was a shutdown. It's all a show. We need to go back to the foundational principles of the appropriate role of government at each level, which means the primary responsibility of the federal government is defending America. Right? In a nutshell, I got 2 minutes. What have we done? What did we do? What did we do in Richmond? What did we do with Bryce and Rob? We hold the line. It stinks. I don't like holding the line. I want to attack. Pardon me for quoting the movie. I want to go through them like crap through a goose. I want to grease the treads of our tanks if they're living nuts. Right? Because you can't win anything by a Fed. So in Virginia, we make sure that the law that they use in Connecticut to do Kilo versus New London was the law here to protect our property. Obama said $7 trillion in debt was unpatriotic. Well, congratulations, Mr. President. You take it unpatriotic and multiply it by 2.5. It looks like we might be on path for unpatriotic times 3. And it's time not to say no, but to say hell no. What is at stake? None of us earn our liberty. Our rights are derived from a superior being, natural law. So government can only restrict or protect rights. What is at stake is what we hand to the people who come after us, who does nothing to deserve anything other than as good or greater an opportunity, which is your sole entitlement as an American, as we have. And so that's what we do. We fight. We move back to core principles, and we absolutely limit this incredible overreach of government. In Virginia, we have to change state law so that they can't backdoor us like they did in Connecticut. You know, here, and I want to hit DC. This is on my website because I'm waiting on the Democrats to call me on. My favorite Tom Garrett quote: half the world is too busy being offended to be productive. The other half is too busy being productive to be offended. Back about 5% of the offended people into the productive camp, and we can save this country. Thank you.
I want to make a statement and tell me whether or not you agree. We could cut, generally speaking, cut the federal government 20% across the board and still have a bloated government. Who agrees? Easy, easy, all right? In the end, though, when I become a congressman, I'll be one of 435. I will say it again and again and again. The greatest threat to a politician is being fired. It's the politicians in the end who are doing this, and it is we, the people, that are enabling them to do it. That's what has to stop. Now, my solution, if I were a dictator, which I'm not, if I could go in there and just say this is the way it's going to be, in 2009, I produced a balanced budget for 2010. Yes, we cut, and we cut hard. And yes, people will get laid off. But, you know, and here's like another problem is the over-regulations in this country. I said, you know how you do this? You go to a department, you say, I just cut you by 10%, get it done. Come back in 3 months, it's not done, you're fired next in line. Get it done, but I'll tell you what they're going to have to do is get rid of some of these needless regulations. But that is what has to happen. I'm going to produce a balanced budget now for 2017, and we'll show again what I think what I'd love to have done, but what's not, I'm sure will not get done because of the people sitting in Congress. And the reference to your land abuse, again, the only reason why the government should ever be taking any piece of land is for the safety of the American people, such as at an intersection. Taking land because you want to open up a shopping mall to get more tax revenue? No. Because we want to protect some land along the river, so we're going to take the farmers' land away from them? No. It is the right of the people to retain ownership of that land. The federal government's responsibility is what? Security and trade, period. Get rid of the 17th Amendment. I'd love to go back to having state senators appoint 2 senators to go to D.C. And ever since 1913, where's the country gone? Right downhill. Bring the money back. How crazy is it we're sending all this money to D.C. and then we're like, let's send our congressman over there and see what we can get back. Really? No. Leave it here.
Very short answers. What would each of you do about the illegal aliens that are already in the country and Syrian refugees that will have arrived by next November?
Oh, good. Well, I'm going to do shorter than that. Donald Trump. Really like him. With Donald Trump, and I'm in agreement here first, put up the wall, period. We are not a country until we seal borders. 2, I understand everybody's saying, well, we're so extreme. He wants to kick out everybody. In reality, do I think that's going to happen? No, I really don't think that's going to happen, but I'll tell you what's a good starting point. People think, you know, he's so dramatic, but my point to people is this, and this everybody's done here. You have a house. You're looking at a house to buy. It's worth $180,000, the rest of $200,000. Are you going to go in at 180? No, you're going to go in at 160 because they're at 200. You got to be in the middle. We are going to, whoever gets president, again, that's another thing I want to say, whoever we nominate as president, let's all be civil about this, support who we think is the best person, whoever it is, let's get him in there. And I think any of our candidates should have Hillary Clinton. Once Hillary Clinton comes out and really starts showing her colors, she's finished. But with that said, he's got to start here, whoever is president, because we're going to be dealing with a Congress that's soft on immigration, and hopefully we'll get something done. But personally, I like the Trump stand.
You want to ask the last question? Fine.
Okay. Somebody tell me how it is that we can track every single side of beef that comes into this country from Brazil or Canada to combat mad cow disease. We can't track it. And we have been trying to figure that one out for years. I've had the great fortune, sometimes in uniform and sometimes not, of traveling all around the world. I saw that Hungary built 124 miles of fence in a weekend. Now, I've been to Hungary. Hungary's a nice country, but there's no United States of America. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever not to build a physical wall at the border right now. Another thing, as a prosecutor, we're going to have a count about 50% 1 year. As a prosecutor, it occurs to me that if we don't attempt to enforce laws, we can't enforce laws. If you'd like to fail at a mission, start your mission statement by saying, well, we can't do this. We can't round up all the people in the well, I can't guarantee you we can if we don't try. So you'll follow them.